안녕하세요. Ni hao ma.
Konnichiwa.
Hello.
Hola.
It's me, Nursyayati Amalia Abdillah.
My name is Milata Izata Pitria.
My name is Ren Hasyarasta Nadira.
It's me, Emzana Shadiki.
I'm Nazari Hadatul Amir.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everyone. Whenever you see our video, thank you for being here today. We are excited to share our insights on the topic of performance management and appraisal for our HRM course. This is a crucial topic for any organization aiming to align employee performance with strategic goals. And the first material will be delivered by Zayan. Check this out.
So, it's me, Emzana Shadiki, and I will explain you about the basic concept in performance management and appraisal. So, what is performance management and appraisal? Performance appraisal is about evaluating the employees on a company, and performance management is a process where the managers make sure the employees work. So, I will define you the employees' goals and work standard. So, we go to the guidelines for effective goal setting. This is a guideline for the employee to help them to achieve the company goals. Okay, there's 5 points here. The first is set smart goals. This is I will explain you in the next slide. And then the second one is assign specific goals. It's track attendance, daily, reward constantly, punctually. And the third one is assign measurable goals. The example is reduce late arrival by 30% within a month. And the fourth one is assign challenging double goals. The example is allow a 5-minute grace period but encourage strict adhere. And the 5 is encourage participation. The example is get employee feedback and introduction incentive like punctual employees of the month.
Okay, so I will explain you SMART. What is SMART? SMART is goal setting framework which standard for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. This method helps in setting clear and achieve goals. Here's a breakdown with explanation and examples. The first is specific. Specific is the goal should be well defined and clear. Example: instead of saying I want to get fit, say I will go to the gym 3 times a week to improve my strength and endurance. And for measurables, the goal should have criteria for measuring progress. Example, I will lose 5 kg in the next 3 months by exercising regularly and eating a balanced diet. And third one is attainable. Attainable is the goal should be realistic and achievable. Example, if you have never run before, setting a goal to run a marathon in 1 month may not be attainable, but run 5 km in 6 weeks is more realistic. And the fourth one is the goal should align with broader objective and be meaningful. Example, if your long-term goal is career growth, a relevant goal might be complete an advanced certification in my field within 6 months. And the last one is timely. The goal should have a clear deadline to ensure focus and motivation. Example, I will complete my marketing project by the end of the next quarter. So by using SMART goals, help in achieving a better result by making objective clear and actionable. Alright.
This is the end introduction to appraising the performance. So why we should appraise performance? It is because a performance appraisal is help HR to assess the employees. There is 5 points here. The first point is basis for pay and promotion decision. The example is like if an employee perform well, they may get a salary raise or promotion. And the second one is play an integral role in performance management. The example is the manager track the progress of the employees and set goal for improvement. And the third one is help correcting deviations and reinforcing good performance. The example is like if an employee struggle with deadlines, they receive training. And the fourth one is useful in career planning. The example is like it helps employees to know their strengths and areas to improve for their future growth. Like the simple explanation is performance appraisal help decide promotion, improve work, fix mistake, and guide career growth.
So my name is Ren Hasyarasta Nadira, and I will explain to you about performance in appraisal roles. So a supervisor is someone responsible for overseeing a small team within a division. In a company, there are multiple divisions, and each division is managed by a division manager. Within each division, there are usually several small teams, and each team has its own supervisor. And for the example, in the marketing division, the social media team is supervised by Zayan. Zayan is responsible for monitoring his team's performance and must report their progress to the marketing division manager. To effectively monitor its team progress, a supervisor should, the first one, conduct direct performance appraisal. For the example, a supervisor in the customer service team evaluates how well the team handles customer complaints. The second one is understand basic performance appraisal techniques. For the example, using the graphic rating scale method to assess employee performance based on numerical ratings. The third one is identify and resolve issues that may hinder evaluation. For the example, the supervisor should avoid giving excessively lenient ratings just to maintain good relationship with the team. The last one is ensure fair and objective evaluation. For the example, a supervisor should base assessment on actual performance data, such as meeting work targets rather than personal relationships. So the next is HR. HR, or Human Resources, is the department responsible for managing employees across various divisions within a company. And HR is not always a standalone division, but often operates at the operational level as a department. The company's hierarchy typically consists of divisions, departments, and teams. Here are HR's main roles in performance appraisal. The first one is establishing policies and guidelines for the performance appraisal system. So HR is responsible for designing policies on how employee performance should be assessed. For the example, HR sets a policy that employees will be evaluated every 6 months using the 360-degree feedback method. The second one is providing advice and assistance on performance appraisal tools. HR helps select and develop appropriate appraisal methods based on company needs. For the example, if a company wants to assess employees based on specific competencies, HR might recommend using the Behavior Enhanced Rating Scale or BARS. The third one is training supervisors to conduct effective performance appraisals. This connects to the previous slide, where supervisors are responsible for evaluating their teams. So before I continue, I will give you the more detailed description between HR and supervisor. Okay, so in a company, there must be teams, right? Teams. And the teams is monitored by a supervisor. Supervisor. And the supervisor is trained by a HR. And after that, the supervisor is reporting the progress to a manager. And the manager is reporting the final progress to a HR manager. Simple, right? Let's continue again. For the last is monitoring the effectiveness of the appraisal system and ensuring compliance with labor laws. So HR ensures that the performance appraisal process runs smoothly and complies with labor regulations, including anti-discrimination laws. So for the example, HR reviews whether there is any bias in appraisal process and ensure that all employees are treated fairly. Next is effectively appraising performance. Performance appraisal follows 3 key steps to ensure an objective and constructive evaluation that supports employee development. The first one is defining the job and performance criteria. Before assessing performance, clear standards must be set for each position. The example, a content writer is evaluated based on the number of articles written, engagement rate, and content quality. The second one is appraising performance. Supervisors evaluate employees using predetermined methods. For the example, graphic rating scale, assigning score for different performance aspects, 360-degree feedback evaluation from managers, peers, and subordinates. Example case, a graphic designer is assessed based on the number of completed design within a month. The last one is providing feedback sessions. Supervisors communicate appraisal results constructively. Example feedback, positive. Social media engagement increased by 20%. Improvement needed. However, some content still does not fully align with our brain voice. And the solution? Let's review some example together to improve future content. So the next is designing the appraisal tool. What to measure in a performance appraisal? Work output, quality and quantity, evaluating the results of an employee's work. For the example, a salesperson is assessed based on their monthly sales number and personal competencies, assessing skills and attitude relevant to the job. For the example, a customer service representative is evaluated on communication and problem-solving skills. Goal achievement, measuring whether employees meet their set target. For the example, a graphic designer is assessed based on the number of projects completed within the deadline. The next one is how to measure. Generic dimension, using broad categories like teamwork or leadership, and actual job duties, evaluating performance based on specific tasks related to the job, and behavioral competencies, measuring work behaviors such as initiative and discipline. Now that we've discussed how to measure performance, here are 10 methods commonly used in performance appraisal. Next. The first one is graphic rating scale. It's a numerical scale. Example 1 to 5 in a table to evaluate different performance aspects. The second one is alternation ranking. Employees are ranked from best to worst based on performance. The third one is paired comparison. Employees are compared 1-to-1 to determine who performs better. Next is forced distribution. Employees are divided into fixed performance categories, such as 20% top performance, 70% average, and 10% low performers. Next is critical incident. Recording notable events, both positive and negative, that reflect an employee's performance. Next, narrative forms. A written performance report by the supervisor describing employee strengths and weaknesses. Next, behaviorally anchored rating scales or bars. A rating scale with specific behaviors examples at each level of performance. Next is management by objective or MBO. Employees are evaluated based on preset targets and goal achievement. Next is computerized and web-based performance appraisal, using digital tools and software to assess employee performance. And the last one is merge methods, a combination of multiple appraisal methods for a more comprehensive evaluation.
Okay, so I will explain you about the sample graphic of rating performance. Okay, from this table is a performance rating from used to evaluate an entry-level employees. Okay, there is an employee's name here, manager's name, and there's a key responsibilities here as you can see. And then next there is a result goals to be achieved. Okay, so and there's a key performance criteria. This is like communication, organizational know-how, personal effectiveness, and teamwork, and achieving business result. And then they are having a rating system that employees are rated on a scale from 1 like this, below expectation, 2 meet expectation, and 3 role model. So it's based on how well they perform in each category. Each section explains what is expected for different performance levels, from needing guidance like low score to working independently with high score. I will explain about one item from an appraisal from assessing employee performance on specific job-related duties. This table is a performance rating for a pizza chef based on their ability to maintain pizza dough inventory. The dough should be 12 until 14 ounces kneaded for at least 2 minutes and stored in a temperature controlled cooler for 5 hours before use. There should be just enough dough for daily demand and no excess. The rating has 3 levels as you can see here. Need environments is the chef does not meet the standards. Satisfactory, the chef meet the basic requirement. And the excellence, the chef exceeds expectation in maintaining dough inventory.
So this is the blank job evaluation form used in the employee evaluation process. In the next slide, I will explain it. Next slide. This form is carried out by employees and evaluation is carried out by managers or HR. Usually given from HR or direct barriers to assess employee achievement of predetermined work targets and evaluate the effectiveness of employee performance and provide feedback for improvement or further development. The output is a note of progress in the middle of the period, mid-year review, a final score based on goal achievement, end of period rating, and adjustment to work targets for the next period if necessary. The filling flow is as follows. Usually, employees are asked to write down their own responsibilities and work targets based on what has been agreed with their superiors. After some time, usually 6 months, the managers or supervisors will fill in the mid-year progress notes section to see how far the employee has achieved the target and then provide comments or notes. At the end of the evaluation period, usually annual, the supervisors fills out an end of period rating section to rate the employee's success. This is what determines whether employees get bonuses, promotions, or further development plans. Then, HR usually ensures that the assessment process is objective in accordance with company policy.
This is the example of alternate ranking scale. For the trait you are measuring, list all the employees you want to rank. Put the highest ranking employee's name on line first, and then put the lowest ranking employee's name on line the last. Then list the next highest ranking on line 2, and then you continue to list the name of the employee in line 19. Continue until all the names are on the scale.
Okay, next is scale for alternate ranking of appraise. Okay, next, let's look at the example in the quality of work table. For instance, Maria is compared to Chuck. The result shows that Maria gets a plus, meaning she is considered better in work quality than Chuck. This could mean Maria is more detail-oriented, her work is neater, or she completes tasks faster with satisfying result. And then next, on the other hand, in the creativity table, when Art is compared to Maria, she received a plus, which means her creativity is rated higher than Maria's. Maybe Maria tends to be less true, or his creativity a lot of repetition. So, based from all of this table, Maria ends up with the most plus marks, indicating that she has the best work quality among her team. And then in the table creativity, the best employee is Art.
So, what is BARS? BARS stand for Behaviorally Anchored Rating Scale, and BARS is a method that rates employees using real examples of workplace behavior. This approach ensures fair, clear, and practical performance assessments. Next. This is how to develop a BARS system. The first, you have to write critical incidents. The first step is to gather real-life examples of good and poor job performance. These are called critical incidents and describe specific employees' behaviors in different situations. The second is develop performance dimensions. Next, we group these incidents into categories or performance dimensions that reflect key aspects of the job. For example, a cashier's dimension might include accuracy, customer service, and efficiency. And the third is reallocate incidents. After categorization, different evaluators reassign the incidents to confirm they truly fit the correct performance dimensions. This step ensures consistency and removes bias. And the fourth step is scale the incidents. Each incident is then rated on a scale from poor to excellent performance. This step creates the behavior anchors that define different levels of job performance. And the last is develop a final instrument. Finally, the BARS scale is tested, refined, and finalized as a tool for evaluating the employees. This version is then used in real performance appraisals. Next. This is the advantages of BARS. The first is a more accurate gauge. Since BARS is created by job experts, it provides realistic and precise evaluations. The second is clearer standards. Performance ratings include real-life example, making it easier to define good, average, or poor performance. Third is easier feedback. Managers can give clearer explanation using actual behavior examples. The fourth is independent dimensions. Performance is rated in different categories, preventing bias and ensuring fairness. And the last is consistency. BARS provides stable and reliable ratings even when assessed by different evaluators. Next. This is the example of behavior anchored rating scale for the dimension of salesmanship skills. So the point is from 1 until 9. The 1 point is extremely poor and the maximum is extremely good by 9 points. So the management give their salesmanship skills for carefully but expeditiously check the date of each coupon to ensure it was still valid by 9 points, and for the scene talking on cell phone and texting while checking customers' groceries, failing to charge for 6 items as a result by 1 until 2 points. Next. MBO, or Management by Objectives, generally refers to a comprehensive and formal organization-wide goal setting and appraisal program. Next. This is the step for setting the management by objectives, or MBO. The first step is setting of organization goals. The first step is defining the company's overall objectives. These are the long-term targets that guide decision-making and business strategy. The example of this is a company may set a goal to increase market share by 15% within a year. The next step is setting of departmental goals. Each department must set goals that contribute to the overall company objectives. The example is the marketing department might aim to generate 10% more leads to help achieve the company's growth target. The third step is discussion of departmental goals. So the clear communication is essential. Departments must align their goals and ensure that every team member understands them. The example is sales and marketing teams needs to collaborate on lead conversion strategies. And the fourth step is defining expected result, setting individual goals. Now we set individual employee goals that contribute to department success. The example is a sales representative might be given a target of closing 20 deals per month. The fifth step is conducting periodic performance review. Regular performance evaluations help track progress and identify areas for improvement. The example is quarterly reviews can assess achievements and address challenges. And the last step is providing performance feedback. So the final step is giving constructive feedback to employees, helping them grow and stay motivated. The example of this is recognizing top performers and providing training for employees who need support. Next slide. So this is the potential problems with MBO. The first is setting unclear objectives. So if the objectives are not clearly defined, employees may struggle to understand what they need to achieve. For example, a vague goal like improve productivity does not provide a clear direction or measurable targets. The second is time-consuming appraisal process. So MBO requires regular monitoring and evaluation, which can be time-consuming, especially for large teams. Managers may spend too much time on assessments instead of focusing on actual work productivity. And the last is conflict with subordinates over objectives. Sometimes employees and managers disagree on the objectives. Employees might feel that the goals are unrealistic and unfair, leading to frustration and resistance. This can be reduced motivation and teamwork. Okay, so what is computerized and web-based performance appraisal system? So it is a software-based system that helps managers track and evaluate employee performance throughout the year. It automates the appraisal process and provides structured feedback. Next. And it has several key points. So the first point is allow managers to keep notes on subordinates. The second is notes can be merged with employee ratings. The third is software generates written text to support appraisals. Fourth is allows for employee self-monitoring and self-evaluation, and the last is electronic performance monitoring or EPM systems. So they use computer network technology to allow managers access to their employees' computers and telephones. So the managers can monitor the employees' rate, accuracy, and time spent working online. Next, so how to dealing with performance appraisal problems? Next, these are the problems for potential rating scale appraisal. So the first is unclear standards. So if the evaluation criteria are vague, different managers may rate employees differently. So to fix this, we should use clear descriptions for each rating. The second is halo effect. This happens when a manager's overall impression of an employee affects all ratings. For example, if an employee is friendly, they might get high score in all areas, even those unrelated to their friendliness. Using structured rating methods like bars can help prevent this. The third is central tendency. So some managers avoid giving very high or very low ratings and instead rate most employees as average. So this makes it hard to recognize top or low performers. A ranking system can help solve this. The fourth is leniency or strictness. So some managers are too generous, giving all employees high score while others are too strict, giving low scores. So this makes the ratings less useful. And the last is bias. Personal opinions, relationships, or even factors like gender, age, or race can unfairly influence ratings. So to reduce bias, companies should use multiple raters, have managers review each other's ratings, and hold discussions, meetings to ensure fair evaluations. Next. So this is the example of a graphic rating scale with unclear standards. This table evaluates employee performance based on factors like work quantity, creativity, and integrity, using a scale from excellent to poor. However, there is one major issue, like the standards are unclear. There are no specific definition like what does good mean in terms of creativity. Does it mean generating new ideas daily or maybe weekly? And the evaluation may be vary between supervisors. One manager may consider good as consistent performance, while another may expect frequent innovation.
Okay, next is guidelines for effective appraisals. Next. Alright, when evaluating employee, there are a few key things we need to keep in mind. Let's go through them one by one. First is know the problems. It's just like identifying issues. First, we need to recognize any problems in the performance evaluation process. For example, a manager might realize they unconsciously give better ratings to employees who communicate with them more often. This leads to bias, which is unfair. The second one is using the right tools. Once we've identified the issue, we need to use the right methods. One solution is to implement 360-degree feedback, where employees are evaluated not just by their manager but also by their peers and subordinates. This makes the assessment more objective. The third one is keep a diary. It's just like tracking progress. Evaluation shouldn't be a one-time process. We also need to monitor progress. For example, a manager can track an employee's improvement in communication skills using performance management tools like Bamboo HR or Trello. This ensures that employees are continuously developing. The fourth one is get agreement on a plan. It's just like agreeing on a plan together. To get the best result, the development plan should be a mutual agreement. For instance, an employee can discuss their career development plan with their manager and HR. This way, both sides are aligned on expectation. And then the last one is remaining or fair. Lastly, evaluations must be fair. Employees shouldn't be judged solely on who works overtime the most, but rather on the quality of their output. This ensures that both effort and result are taken into account. Alright, let's go over some common performance appraisal methods. Each one has its own strengths and weaknesses, so it's important to choose the right one based on your needs. First is graphic rating scales. This is one of the easiest methods to use since it simply assigns numerical scores to employee performance. However, it can be subjective because the evaluation standards are often unclear and prone to bias. Next is bars or behaviorally anchored rating scales. This method is more accurate because it uses specific behavioral example as a basis for evaluation, making it more objective than just using numbers. The downside is that it's complicated to develop and requires a lot of data. Next is alternation ranking. Employees are ranked from best to worst, which help eliminate central tendency bias. However, if all employees are performing well, this method can cause conflicts since someone still has to be placed at the bottom. Next is forced distribution method. This ensures a balanced performance distribution, meaning only a certain percentage of employees can be rated as top or bottom performance. The issue is that it can feel unfair, especially if most employees are doing well but still have to be placed in lower categories. Next is critical incident method. This evaluates employees based on significant job-related incidents. It's useful because it focuses on key moments, but it can be difficult to compare employees since the evaluation is based on different events. Next, the last is MBO or Management by Objectives. Here, performance is assessed based on goals that have been mutually agreed upon by both the manager and the employee, making it more transparent and objective. However, it requires continuous monitoring, which can be time-consuming. So, each method has its pros and cons, and the best choice depends on how you want to measure employee performance. Alright, when choosing a performance evaluation method, there are a few key factors to consider. Let me break them down for you. For the first is accessibility. The system should be easy for everyone to access, whether it's employee, manager, or HR. If people can easily view or update their evaluation, the process becomes ineffective. For the example, HR application like Talenta allow employees to check their evaluation result anytime, making the process more transparent. Next is easy of use. The method needs to be simple so it can be implemented smoothly. If it's too complicated, people might struggle to use it correctly. For the example, a checklist-based evaluation is much easier to follow than complex ranking system like forced ranking, which require detailed comparison between employees. Next is employee acceptance. Employees need to feel that the process is fair and unbiased. If they think the evaluation is one-sided, they might not to take it seriously. For the example, feedback from multiple sources like supervisors, peers, and subordinates tends to be more accepted because it's not based on just one person's opinion. For the last is accuracy. The evaluation must provide a clear and objective picture of an employee's performance. If it's too vague or subjective, it won't be useful for making decisions. For the example, the BARS behavioral anchored rating scale method improves accuracy by using real workplace behavior example instead of just rating employee with numbers. So, by keeping these 4 points in mind, companies can choose an evaluation method that is effective, fair, and easy to use. Okay, who should do the appraising? When it comes to performance evaluation, different people can be involved in the process. Let's go through who they are and how they contribute. Next, potential appraiser. First is immediate supervisor. The manager who directly oversees an employee's work is usually the one responsible for evaluating their daily performance. Since they monitor tasks and progress regularly, they can provide feedback based on actual results. For the example, a manager assesses an employee's performance by looking at whether they meet their sales target for the quarter. Okay, next is self-rating. Employees are sometimes given the opportunity to evaluate themselves. This allows them to reflect on their own achievements, strengths, and areas for improvement. For the example, an employee fills out a self-evaluation from the assess their productivity and skills before discussing it with their manager. Okay, next is fears. Sometimes feedback from colleagues is important, especially for roles that involve teamwork. Fears can include how well someone collaborates, communicates, and contributes to group tasks. For the example, in a team project, members assess each other's contribution to ensure everyone is pulling their weight. Next is subordinates. In leadership positions, feedback from employees is just as important. Subordinates can provide insight on how effective their supervisor is in terms of leadership and communication. For the example, a supervisor is rated by their team based on how well they support and guide employees. Okay, next is rating committee. Instead of just one person making the decision, a group of manager or HR representatives together to make them more objective. For the example, a committee typically evaluates employees before deciding on promotions or bonus to ensure fairness. The last one is 360-degree feedback. This method combines feedback from multiple sources, include supervisor, colleague, subordinates, and sometimes even client. It gives a more well-rounded view of an employee's performance. For the example, a sales manager is evaluated by their boss, coworkers, and customer to get a complete picture of their strengths and area for growth. By using different perspectives in performance reviews, companies can get a more accurate and fair evaluation of their employees. Okay, this is types of appraisal interviews. When evaluating employees, we usually categorize them into 4 groups based on their performance and potential. Let's go through them one by one. First is satisfactory with promotable. This is for employees who are performing exceptionally well, exceeding expectation, and ready for bigger responsibilities. For the example, a financial analyst who consistently provides accurate investment recommendation, contributing to higher company profits. This kind of employee shows initiative, continuously develops their skills, and has strong leadership potential. Next is satisfactory but not promotable. Some employees do their job well but may not be suitable or interested in moving up. They might be happy in their current role or lack the skills needed for a promotion. For the example, a cashier at a supermarket who performs well but isn't interested in becoming a supervisor. They are reliable in their job but prefer to stay in their current position. Next is unsatisfactory correctable. In this case, the employee isn't meeting expectation, but with the right training and support, they have the potential to improve. The key here is that they are open to feedback and willing to grow. For the example, a salesperson who struggles to meet their targets but after receiving training starts showing improvement in their sales performance. Next is unsatisfactory, uncorrectable. This applies to employee whose performance is constantly poor and despite multiple opportunities to improve, they show no progress or willingness to change. For the example, a technician who repeatedly neglects tasks and keeps making mistakes even after training and multiple warnings. If there's no improvement, they might not be the right fit for the role. So, by understanding these categories, we can make better decisions about promotions, training, and other necessary action to improve team performance. Okay, for the guidelines for conducting an interview, when conducting a performance appraisal, there are a few important guidelines to follow to make the conversation productive. Let me break them down for you. First is talk in terms of objective work data. When giving feedback, we need to focus on facts, numbers, and measurable results instead of opinions. This makes evaluation clearer and more fair. For the example, instead of saying, "You're doing a good job," be more specific like, "Your sales increased by 20% this quarter, which is above the target." That way, the employees knows exactly what they do well. Next is don't get personal. The focus should always be on work performance, not personality. criticizing someone personally can make them defensive, which isn't helpful. For example, instead of saying, "You're not hardworking," say something like, "I noticed that some deadlines were missed. Let's discuss how we can improve this." This keeps the conversation constructive. Next is encourage the person to talk. Appraisals should be a two-way discussion, not just the manager giving feedback. Let employees share their thoughts and concerns. For example, ask questions like, "How do you feel about your work? Do you need any support?" This helps them open up and feel heard. Next is get agreement. At the end of the conversation, both sides should be on the same page about what happened next. This ensures accountability and clarity. For example, you can say, "So we agree that you will take a training course to improve your skills. Does that sound good to you?" This way, there's a clear action plan moving forward. By following these steps, performance evaluation become more effective and help employees grow rather than just being a formality.
Hello, I'm Nurchayati Amalia Abdillah. Now I will be taking over to discuss handling defensive responses during performance appraisals. This is critical part of the process because let's face it, not everyone takes feedback well, and as managers or HR professionals, we need to be prepared to handle these situations effectively. Next. So, how to handle a defensive subordinate? The first thing we need to understand that is the defensive behavior is normal. When employees receive criticism or negative feedback, it is natural for them to feel threatened or uncomfortable. For example, imagine you're a manager giving feedback to an employee who meets a deadline. The employee may be immediately start explaining why it wasn't their fault or blame others. This reaction is normal and needs to be handled carefully. And for the second is, don't blame or attack when someone gets defensive. Instead, you can say, "I understand you had a lot of your plate and appreciate your effort. Let's find a way to prevent this from happening again." This helps calm a situation and keeps the conversation positive. And for the third is, postponing action. Sometimes emotions run high during an appraisal, so it's best to take a break and continue later. For example, if an employee gets upset for it and starts arguing, you can say, "Okay, let's take a short break, guys, and continue in 15 minutes. This allows both sides to calm down and return with a clearer mindset. And lastly, recognize your own limits. Managers aren't perfect, and sometimes we may not be the best person to handle a situation. In such cases, it is okay to involve a third party like HR to mediate. For example, if an employee feels you're being unfair, a neutral party can help resolve the issue more effectively. Okay, for the next, now let's talk about how to give criticism. Next. If not handled well, it can create problems. The key is to give feedback while respecting the person's dignity. For example, instead of saying, "You always make mistakes," you can say, "I've noticed some errors in your recent reports. Let's work together to improve accuracy." This way, the focus is on the behavior, not the person, and it offers a solution rather than just pointing out the problem. Another key is to give criticism in private. Public criticism can be embracing and unhelpful. For example, calling out an employee in front of their colleagues can hurt their confidence and create a negative team atmosphere. Instead, have the discussion one-on-one, so the employee feels comfortable talking about their performance. And for the third is, give daily feedback so the review has no surprises. If feedback is only given during the annual appraisal, it might catch the employee off guard. Regular check-ins help employees stay on track and make the formal appraisal process smoother. For example, weekly or bi-weekly meetings can be held to discuss progress, address issues, and provide constructive feedback. Next. Okay, when giving criticism, never say the person is always wrong. This kind of statement can make the employee feel attacked and discouraged. For example, instead of saying, "You're always late to meetings," you could say, "I've noticed you have been late to last few meetings. Is there something we can do to help you to be on time?" This way, the feedback is more helpful and less blaming. Lastly, criticism should be objective and unbiased. Feedback should be based on the fact and specific behaviors, not personal feelings or assumptions. For example, if an employee's performance had declined, focus on specific tasks or projects where they struggle instead of saying, "You are not that good as you used to be." This make the feedback fair and actionable. Don't because you don't like the person, then you start making your own assumptions to criticize that person. That's obviously not ethical. Okay guys, now let's talk about formal written warnings. These are needed when an employee's performance or behavior doesn't improve despite previous feedback. A written warning should clearly state the expected standards and highlight the performance issues. Next. A written warning is a formal way to address an employee's performance or behavior issues. It serves two main purposes. For the first is to shake your employee out of bad habits. Sometimes employees may not realize how serious their performance or behavior issues are. A written warning is like a wake-up call. It makes it clear that they need to improve. Example, imagine an employee who's always late to work. A verbal reminder might not work, but a written warning shows them like, "Hey, this is serious and you need to fix it." And to help you defend your rating, if the employee doesn't improve and you need to take further action, like firing them, the written warning serves as proof that you give them a fair chance to correct their behavior. Example, if the employee claims they were fired unfairly, you can show the written warning to your boss or even in court to prove that you follow the proper process. A good written warning needs to be a clear, specific, here's what it should cover. For this side, okay? For the first is identify standards by which the employee is judged. The warning should clearly state what's expected of the employee. Example, if the issues is punctually, the warning should say like this: employees are expected to arrive by 9 a.m. like that. Make it clear that the employee was aware of the standard. The warning should show that the employee knew what was expected of them. For example, as outlined in the employee handbook, punctuality is requirement for all staff. And then, specify deficiencies relative to the standard. The warning should clearly explain how the employee is falling short. Example, you have been late to work 5 times in the past 2 weeks. And then, for the last is indicate the employee's prior opportunity for corrections. The warning should mention if the employee has already been given a chance to improve. And for example is, during our meeting on 1st March, you were verbally warned about your tardiness, but the issue has not been resolved. So, for the next, we're gonna talk about performance management. Performance management is an ongoing process of setting goals, tracking progress, and helping employees improve while ensuring their work aligns with company goals. Unlike performance appraisal, which is a one-time evaluation, performance management is continuous and focused on growth. Next. So, the key difference? Performance appraisal is like snapshot, evaluating past performance at specific moment. Performance management is like a video ongoing, evolving and aim a long-term improvement. It is not just about reviving the past but also setting goals, giving feedback and supporting employees. For example, if you are in group project, performance appraisal is like getting a final grade at the end. While performance management is like your professor checking in weekly, giving feedback and helping you improve. So, which one leads to better results? Whatever the answer, exactly performance management it is, because it is about continuous support and improvement. Next. Now, let's go over the basic building blocks of performance management. The key elements that make it effective, like direction, sharing, like everyone should know where the company is headed. If company aims to lead in sustainable products, employees need to see how their products contributes. It is like a football team. If the coach doesn't share the game plan, players won't know what to do. And for the second is goal alignment. Individual and team goals should match company goals. If company wants to improve customer satisfaction, the customer service team might focus on reducing response times. Can anyone give another example? Yeah, whatever the answer. It is about making sure everyone works toward the same target. And then for the next is ongoing performance monitoring. Regularly tracking progress helps stay on course. A sales team, for example, a sales team might check weekly to see if they are on track to meet monthly targets. It is like tracking your GPA throughout the semester instead waiting for final grades. And for the next is ongoing feedback. Regular constructive feedback helps employees improve in real time. Imagine playing a video game and getting hints along the way instead of just get a score at the end. That's what ongoing feedback does. And for the next is coaching and development support. Here, employees need training and resources to grow. If someone struggles with public speaking, the company may go for a workshop or mentorship. Does anyone maybe has coaching or mentorship ever help you improve? Yeah, maybe your answer is you can see based on your answer it can make a big difference. And for the last is rewards and recognition. So here, acknowledging great work keeps employees motivated. This could be bonuses, promotions, or even a simple shout-out in meeting. So, another question is, what kind of reward will motivate you? And the answer is, it will be recognizing efforts keep everyone engaged. Okay, for the next, we're gonna talk about why management. Next. Let's talk about the performance management approach, a method that ensures performance management is effective and aligned with company goals. Think of it like puzzle, each piece needs to fit to complete the big picture. For the first is, we have total quality management. This focuses on continuous improvement to ensure high quality results. For example, a manufacturing company might use TQM to reduce product defects. It is like refining a group project until it is perfect. So, have you ever revised a project multiple times to get it just right? That's TQM in action. And for the next is resolving operational issues. This means fixing problems in performance appraisals. If an employee feels their review was unfair, HR can step in to mediate. It is like discussing a grade you disagree with your professor, for example. So maybe some of you ever had to resolve a disagreement about performance or grades, right? It is about finding a fair solution. And for the next is strategic goal alignment. The goal is to ensure everyone's efforts supports the company's strategy. If a company aims to be carbon neutral, every department from marketing to operations must align with that vision. So maybe can you think, guys, of a company that aligns with its goals well? Yeah, exactly. It is about working together toward a shared goal. So next. Yeah. We're gonna talk about using IT to support performance management technology makes performance management easier and more effective. Here is how. The first is Setting goals. IT tools help assign financial and non-financial goals. For example, a sales team might aim to increase revenue by 10% while also improving customer satisfaction. It is like setting both academic and personal goals, aiming for good grades while improving time management. And for the second is communicating goals. Communicating goals, like apps and dashboards, helps employees see their individual and team goals. It is like using a planner to track assignments and deadlines. So maybe how many of you use apps to stay organized? Like maybe some of you using like Notion or similar like that. It is the same for work. Next, it is for tracking performance. Digital tools let managers monitor progress in real time. If a team is falling behind, they can act quickly. It is like checking your grade mid-semester and adjusting your study habits if needed. And for the next is taking action. If performance is low, IT tools can help find the problem and suggest solutions like training or extra resources. It is like using feedback on a draft to improve your final version. Okay guys, finally this is the last of the material that will be explained, which is about performance management report. So for the content is displays a personal goal management system used to evaluate individual and team performance based on predefined targets. Please zoom. For the key elements, for the first is goals, includes individual, team, and company objectives. Target and weight. Each goal has a specific target and assigned weight. And for the third is evaluation score. Performance is assessed based on goal achievement. So this system helps organizations set, monitor, and evaluate employee performance in a structured way, ensuring alignment with company strategy. Okay, for example of implementation and purpose of performance management, for example, it's like in an e-commerce company, the customer service team has a target to respond to customer chats within 5 minutes, and the manager use a performance dashboard to track whether this target is met daily. If it's not, they can find solutions quickly, like adding more staff or providing training. And the purpose is to keep work on track so everyone knows what they need to achieve. To monitor performance, so if there's an issue, it can be fixed immediately to align with the company's vision, like improving customer satisfaction. Simply, but performance management is like a reminder and tracking tool to keep everything running smoothly. So it is all about setting goals, tracking progress, and improving, just like leveling up in a game or perfecting a project. Apologize if there are any mistakes along the way. What matters is we keep learning, improving, and striving for the best. So let's not just work, let's work smarter and better. Thank you for your time, and let's keep pushing forward. See you.